Hello and welcome to this week's video entitled Summer Forex Trading, Yes or No. There's a few things obviously you need to caution yourself about your summer trading. Obviously you know that the volume is less. Sometimes volatility can be a little bit higher, but it seems to be less typically. It depends upon the pair. And I think the best thing that you can do is start looking to some higher time frames, because you definitely will see longer wicks, some spikier price action due to the lower volumes. Now, just going back a couple of years on the Eurodollar here, you can see here's kind of the summer, and August is typically the slowest month. That's when most of Europe goes on vacation, so that really takes a bite out of the volume. Yeah, but you can see this doesn't look too bad. This is on a daily chart, the Eurodollar. And, obviously there are some spikes, but, it pretty much had a nice pullback and then continued higher. We went into a nice long signal here in October, and then, again, some pullbacks here the next year, a nice pullback, and then a strong move up. Let's go ahead and scroll forward. And then I want to look at a few more time frames, and actually I'll show you how last year and my trading did. Here was back in the summer of '09. Again, some big price action, but it continued its trend. It was basically in a downward trend that year. Let's scroll forward a little more. There was a nice short there. Here last year, or the 2 years ago, not a whole lot of action, but it was a slow grind higher. So again, if you're on a longer time frame, this particular trade is like a 642 to the first target. It ground away for many months, but it did go on up. So, and then it brings us to this year. What can we expect this year? I don't know. Obviously, we've come across this big move down. Actually, it's looking to try and go short again, but we'll see what happens. Now, taking a look at this pair, I want to look at a few other pairs, one of the other majors, and just kind of talk about the volume and volatility. I think you know that there's been more volatility on the Eurodollar than there has on the pound. And before I jump to that, I'll just show you here my spreadsheet trades in August. We had a record like 6 losses in a row, all of them one night, and this is on about 12 pairs. But again, we managed to tighten things up and look for breakouts. And this is basically mostly on a 30-minute chart, so that's why my recommendation is that you go to a larger time frame. We started out the month at about 18.8, right about 18.9. We dipped down to about 17.9, but we ended up the month right about where we started at 19.2, so slightly ahead. But again, it was a rough month. We were like, well, we're just going to take the month off. We're all going to go on a cruise next August. So I think we will continue to trade, but we're going to look at them larger time frames. So let's go take a look at those. Okay, here is the pound dollar on a 4-hour chart, and I did that so I could get my volume, average volume up here. Hard to display. Basically, starting in May, you get a typical volume of about 15.5. It started dropping off in June, July, August, and then actually on into September, it continued to drop off. Now these are basically on the first parts of the date, so August was probably a little bit higher, but it trailed off. So you can kind of see it. The average really trailed off there the rest of August, hitting a low around the 1st of September, and then staying there, and then start itching back up in October. So, and you can see the volatility on this particular pair pretty much just decreased. So it depends on, there we go, November you're back up at 14,000. So again, that's when you really start getting back. In October, November, the volume really starts coming back into the market. But this shows you, on a 4-hour chart, it just kind of continued its trend. There was a little bit of a pullback in August, and then it resumed somewhat of its trend. Now let's take a look at this pair on a weekly chart. Now, I don't know if you've looked at weekly charts. Again, I said look for higher time frames. You won't get nearly as many trades, but it's something you really have to look at. Definitely daily and possibly weekly. So let's take a look at a weekly. Okay, so here we are on the pound dollar on a weekly chart, and you can see this particular system hasn't had a loss since 2000. It was able to pick up a very nice short and a nice long. It can capture the trends. These little blues, those are your summers. Again, you don't really even notice them. Not much really happened during those particular times. And this could be any system, because again, if you've got a good system, it can call out these weekly trades. It can capture these weekly trends. Again, it just kind of continues up. There may be a little bit of a pullback in the summers. What it seems to be, a little bit of a retracement, unless it's a major reversal. So like I said, this got this big move short. Again, a little bit of a pullback, and then again continuing on. So what do we have for this summer? Could be a long, could be a short. We don't know, not on the weekly. Let's take a quick glance on this same pair on a daily, and just notice the volatility is really not that high. What I want to show you here is typically the volatility on certain pairs drops a little bit just due to lower volumes, but again, you can have some spiky wiki action. So that's why if you look at the longer terms like the daily or the weekly, you can ride these things out. But you can see the last 2 years have been down on the pound dollar. Now compare that to the euro dollar on a daily, and you'll see it's a volatile pair. So again, talking about the volatility depending upon the pair, here's the euro dollar the last couple of years. You can see volatility really high going into the summer, trailed off a little bit, but good price action during the summer. Just a nice trend back up. The year before, volatility was dropping down, but as you can see recently we've had it up pretty high. So again, it can vary on the pair and the year. Again, it's been high the last couple of years, but again, the price action has not been, it's been very tradable. So again, what I would recommend is look to longer time frames, weekly, daily, look for those signals, and then get on board those, and you may find that you like trading those better than the 30-minute or hour that you're used to. But again, we're in a nice we have this nice pullback on the euro, but it is in an upward trend. Volatility is high, so we'll see where it goes. Great trading, and good talking to you all this week.